Marriage parameters. Bhavas that are associated with marriage. When we are looking at the marriage parameters, we not only have to see the 7th house and the 8th house, but also the 2nd house, the 4th house, the 9th house and the 12th house. Any negativity in the 12th house can be responsible for the native not being married. Any negativity in the 4th house also can be a possibility why the native is not married or why there is a hindrance in marriage. Again, when there is second bhava is important, because even though it represents family life, it aspects the 8th house of longevity of marriage. Therefore, a negativity in this house also can create a delay in the marriage parameters. Now, normally in India, it is an association of families, not an association of two individuals. Therefore, the bhavas that are responsible for a decent marriage is not only the 7th house, 8th house, but also the 9th house of luck or bhagya, the 8th house of longevity or mangalya sthana, the 12th house of bed pleasures. When there are malefic planets in the 12th house, we have found that the native is not married. The 2nd house of family life, whether the native will have a personal family life. The 4th house, if you consider happiness before marriage into your mother and father's happiness, the planet sitting in the 4th house reflects the 10th house, which is the happiness from marriage. So these houses are the main houses that are associated with marriage, and to understand the timing of the marriage, when the dasha of these houses, first the dasha of the lagna house, the 7th house, the 7th lord, planets placed in the 7th house, planets placed in the 2nd house or even in the 8th house can give marriage, because the 8th house is not only the mangalya sthana but also the house of gratification. So the 8th house becomes an important house, especially in a male chart, to get an early marriage. In a female chart, 8th house becomes the cause of late marriage, because malefic influences in the 8th house in a female chart makes the female become very choosy, whereas in the male chart they want a gratification, therefore there will be an early marriage. Natural planets like Moon, Rahu, Venus and Mercury, irrespective of where they are placed during their dasha, and the antras of the 7th or the lagna or the 8th or the 9th can trigger marriage. The dasha of the 11th lord can also give us marriage. The bhukti of the 11th lord can give us marriage even if the 11th lord is not placed well. The dasha of the 9th lord, the Navamsha Lagna dasha, planet posted in the Navamsha Lagna, the 7th from Navamsha Lagna. Too many parameters to think about. Therefore, what we do is first look at the Lagna and Lagna parameters. See if we can get a reply from the dashas in the Rashi chart. If we are not successful in getting a positive reply from the Rashi chart, then go to the Navamsha chart. See what is the dasha link in the Navamsha, and if the dasha link is in the 7th house and the 7th lord or the Lagna lord of the Navamsha dasha, there will be a promise of marriage when the transits help. At that time, transits are the most important thing at the time of marriage, or even the first job, or even the first child, or even a promotion. When Jupiter blesses the house in question and Saturn blesses the house in question, then the activity of that house takes place. In the case of marriage, the Jupiter and Saturn should have a link to the 7th house, the seventh lord, to the lagna, or to the lagna lord, meaning to say it should be either posted along with them in transit, or aspecting in transit, or conjoined in transit. Now let us look at a chart who had an early marriage. 1954 male chart. The lagna is Leo, which has gone to the 5th in the Navamsha, showing a Purva Punya positivity in the marriage parameters. The second house of happiness, or 8th house of Kalatra, is associated with Sun. Maybe not plus, not minus, because Sun is a Krura planet aspecting the 8th house from the second house. People may turn around and say it is a negativity, but since it's a lagna lord aspecting the 8th house, it becomes a neutrality, because Sun by itself is a Krura, but being the lagna, it gives a minus minus relationship, plus minus relationship. The 4th house is associated with a benefic Venus, who is the 3rd house lord and the 10th house lord, not a bad lord. 7th house is very clean, no influence of any planet in the 7th house. The 7th lord is exalted in the 3rd house, associated with the 2nd lord Mercury. So there is a link of the 2nd and the 7th, Kutumba and marriage. The 9th house is having a benefic moon, even though he is a 12th lord, moon by himself is benefic. 9th lord is exalted and is aspecting the 9th house, again a positive sign. The 12th house is associated with the positive Jupiter aspected by Mars, again becomes a positive 12th house. Therefore, for all intents and purposes, this native has a positive approach as far as marriage is concerned. The Navamsha Lagna is aspected by Jupiter himself. The 7th house is clean with no aspect of malefic planets. Therefore, we can say this native will have a decent marriage. The dasha at the time of marriage was Venus dasha, which is the natural signature to marriage, aspecting the 10th house, that is happiness from family after marriage. The dasha, Antra dasha, is Ketu, who is sitting in the 11th house. The dispositor of Ketu is Mercury, who is associated with the 7th lord Saturn, again giving you a promise of marriage during that period. The transit on 1st March 1978, Jupiter was in Gemini and Saturn retrograde was in Leo. From Gemini, Jupiter aspects the natal Saturn, 7th lord Saturn, and from Leo, Saturn aspects the natal Saturn, 7th lord Saturn. Here we see that all the parameters are met for a positive early marriage. In the next file or in the next class, I will try and do a chart which has a divorce in the marriage. Thank you.